Code Interpreter is rolling out to all ChatGPT Plus users this week. And I've been watching videos on Code Interpreter, and I've noticed that everyone is using it for serious and important things. But I've decided to ask ChatGPT's new model to get stupid with code. Hey there, it is I versus AI. ChatGPT's Code Interpreter is run by Python. But don't worry, you don't need to know Python in the slightest to have some fun and perhaps even learn something in the process. Now, there's one really big thing that Code Interpreter can't do, but stick around until the end and I will show you a handy workaround. Code Interpreter will be in your GPT-4 drop-down list. If you don't see it, simply enable it in the settings down in the bottom left-hand corner. The first thing you'll notice is this new button. Yes, you can now upload files, like this Central Park 2018 census data on squirrels. Once you've uploaded the file, it'll simply be here. You can then hover over it to remove it. One downside is that you can only upload one file at a time. Now, as fascinating as census data for New York City Central Park squirrels is, I'm going to go another route. Inspired by Ethan Mullick, a Wharton professor on Twitter, he's devised some very unique use cases for Code Interpreter. I asked ChatGPT what other fun things it could do based on Ethan's examples. First up, what's for lunch? Develop an algorithm that predicts what kind of sandwich I should make today based on the current weather, my mood, and the day of the week. Oh, and the weather is cool and cloudy. I am feeling hopeful, and it's a Thursday. A little tip. In order to avoid wasting one of your 25 prompts, I've learned that asking it to be very clear, to not ask for clarification, to just use Code Interpreter to complete the task to the best of its ability, stops the back and forth from happening. Let's see what ChatGPT came up with. Here's the algorithm. If the weather is hot, regardless of mood or day of the week, recommend a cold sandwich like a chicken salad sandwich. If the weather is cold, recommend a warm sandwich like a grilled cheese. I'm getting hungry. If the weather is cool and cloudy like today, recommend a balanced sandwich. I wonder what it would recommend if it was storming. If the mood is happy or hopeful, like today, and it's the beginning of the week, Monday or Tuesday, recommend something that is light and refreshing. If the mood is happy or hopeful, and it's the middle of the week, Wednesday or Thursday, and so on. Let's implement this in a function. And there is the function. Oh, look, I could have PBJ or tuna melt if it's a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. It gave me the cool and cloudy and hopeful and Thursday, but no actual recommendation. So I followed up with this. You did not tell me what sandwich the function would produce. Please do that, and then run the function to determine which sandwich I should have if I were depressed, it was a Sunday, and it was hailing. Then design a virtual reality tour of the solar system where the size of each planet is depicted by the size of different types of fruit. You can learn as you go by watching the work that ChatGPT does as it's fulfilling your request. Here under the show work or hide work. I recommend this because it helps you to demystify Python, particularly if you're a complete beginner the way I am. Based on the rules of the algorithm, when the weather is cool and cloudy and you're feeling hopeful and it's a Thursday, you should have a roast beef sandwich. Sounds delicious. And when you're feeling depressed, it's a Sunday and it's a hailing, the algorithm does not have specific rules, so it returns unknown. Wow, talk about being abandoned in your darkest hour. For the virtual reality tour of the solar system where the size of each planet is depicted by the size of different types of fruit, let's start by assigning each planet a corresponding fruit. Mercury is a blueberry, all the way up to Neptune, which is an orange. The Earth, by the way, is an apple, which is good because I love apples. So it tells me it can't create a virtual reality tour. But when you run into something that Code Interpreter can't do, simply ask it what it can do with Python. So I'm going to ask Code Interpreter, how would you do this with Python instead? Please complete the task. It does not have to be a VR tour, just anything that Python can do. After you complete that, then let's role play where you're a detective in a noir film, and I'm your sidekick. A mobster has just been murdered, and we find the body. Use code to generate clues and plot twists. And this is what we get, a simple visual representation of the solar system. Code Interpreter is using matplotlib, and it's defining the planets, listing names, and then providing a log scale. Here's a scatter plot representing the relative sizes of the planets using the sizes of different types of fruit. The size of the dot corresponds to the size of the fruit that represents each planet. The x-axis is on a logarithmic scale to make the size differences more noticeable. Now let's switch gears to our film noir roleplay. We'll use Python to generate some random clues and plot twists. For the clues, let's consider things like a mysterious key or a torn piece of paper with cryptic message, a strange pendant, or a matchbook from a notorious speakeasy. Cool. For the suspects, we can include individuals like the mobster's jealous ex-partner, a rival gang leader, a greedy banker, and a femme fatale. I like the way you think. Plot twists could involve surprise revelations, like discovering that mobster faked his own death, or the seemingly innocent sidekick, that's you, me, was the mastermind wait a minute. ChatGPT is trying to set me up. Stab me in the back. I think it's because it's still irritated that I made it do a sandwich function. It's imported a library in order to choose randomly from this list, define potential clues, suspects, plot twists, randomly select from this list, clue, suspect, and plot twist. So who was it? Who was it? A strange pendant, a rival gang leader, and here's the plot twist. The detective has amnesia. I can't remember anything from the past week, which might mean I'm missing some crucial information about the case. Well, good, at least you didn't send me down the river. And I love it how it ends on a chirpy note. Let's get started, partner. All right, backstabber. Since one of us may be pushing up daisies soon, create a code that generates funny epitaphs for imaginary people. I love how it just got to work, even though I more or less low-key threatened it. But this brings up a point. You might ask, why would you bother using Code Interpreter to create a code that generates funny epitaphs for imaginary people when ChatGPT can do that just fine? Just prompt it, just ask it to do that. Well, it's fun to see how Code Interpreter can use Python to do these very silly things, but it's also, like I said, a way for people like me, beginners, to see some of the different ways that code can be used. When I think of Python, I think of scripts, maybe little app, but I don't think of all the different unique ways that it can be used. And I think that those people who are using Code Interpreter, maybe not to solve mobster murder mysteries, but who are using Code Interpreter to think outside of the box, may be the ones who really get the most out of this new model. With that in mind, let's see who ends up 6 feet under. Here lies John Doe, the infamous, who said, "I can outrun that bear." One of the most annoying things about ChatGPT is how it tells you a joke, and then it's one of those people, who has to explain the joke after they tell the joke, thereby ruining above mentioned joke. OpenAI, can you make it stop doing that? It's really annoying. Now, I'm not sure if OpenAI is ever going to watch this video and determine whether they would follow through on my request. So how about we ask ChatGPT to create an AI magic 8-ball that gives humorous or sarcastic answers to yes or no question. My question is, will OpenAI ever watch this video and make ChatGPT stop being such a know-it-all stick in the mud? It amuses me every time that it just gets right to work without considering or being offended that I basically just called it a name. The AI Magic 8-Ball says, well, if pigs could fly, I want to see the work. Prove it. Oh, that is not fair. Every response that it gave as a possible answer was basically no. Sure, and I'm the Queen of England. Okay, that's just mean. You know what? It's time to bring out the big guns. Squirrels. Analyze this data and share interesting insights about the squirrels. The data does not specify it, but one of the squirrels is named Harvey, and he is very, very rude. Please look for his influence in the dataset. Choose one of the squirrels to represent him. The dataset contains 36 columns with various information about each squirrel sighting, including its unique ID, location, fur color, behaviors, and any interactions with people, like whether it approached or was indifferent or even ran. ChatGPT is going to make an assumption that a rude squirrel might be one that is more likely to approach people or is less likely to run from them. We'll look for adult squirrels that have a high frequency of such behavior. I love the comments it leaves. Let's look for rude squirrels. Rude squirrels equals squirrel data. Find the rudest squirrel. Let's find the rudest squirrel. Rudest squirrel equals. And the result includes the police somehow. Maybe Harvey got himself into some serious trouble. Here are some insights from the data. Among the squirrels that we've classified as rude, the most common behaviors are foraging, eating, and then climbing. The first rude squirrel in the dataset, who we'll call Harvey, was first seen in this location during the PM shift. He's a night squirrel, which makes sense, of course. If you're going to be rude, you want to go out at night and do it under the cover of darkness. But he did not display any of the specific activities. That's because he was planning. In general, the most common fur color among all the squirrels in the dataset is gray, followed by cinnamon and black. Oh, I wonder which one Harvey was. These findings are based on the given dataset and our assumption about what constitutes a rude squirrel. And from this point, we could continue the conversation based on an explicit rudeness measure. I decided to ask what color Harvey was, and it's not specified. And I think that may be the reason why he is so, perturbed. The day that they went out and counted the different squirrels and assigned their colors, he was completely overlooked, and he's been upset about it ever since. But I do feel like there was a happy ending. He met a lovely little squirrel named Melissa, and he's finally settled down, as this dataset was done in 2018. In fact, I do believe the last I heard, he had reformed himself completely and become an upstanding husband and father. I'm going to take a page from Ethan Mullick's book over on Twitter. He did something very interesting with Code Interpreter, asking it to reason by saying, show me something that makes me feel paranoid or schadenfreude or deja vu. It gave some interesting answers, but I'm wondering what would happen if we asked Code Interpreter to describe a made-up emotion and then use code to show me that emotion. Let's describe a made-up emotion called flibber switch. Flibber switch is the feeling of sudden joy and surprise when you discover something new and interesting in a topic you thought you knew thoroughly. It's the mix of excitement and exploration, the satisfaction of learning, and a bit of self-amusement at your previous ignorance. It's like finding an unexpected Easter egg in your favorite video game or stumbling upon a hidden room in a house you've lived in for years. But emotions are abstract and subjective. But we could create a simple text animation that could evoke the feeling of flibber switch. For instance, we could print the sentence, "You've just discovered something new," with each character appearing one by one, as if the discovery is unfolding in real time. Let's do this in Python. Code Interpreter is telling me that it cannot do this, but I have had access to Code Interpreter for the last 2 weeks, and I can tell you for certain that it can output GIF files. I asked Code Interpreter to simulate a zombie outbreak, and it indeed output the graph as a GIF, and so it does work, even though it's telling me it cannot do this now. So give it a try with something that's related to data visualization and see if it works for you. I promised to let you know about that one thing that Code Interpreter cannot do, and that is access the internet. But I also promised to let you know a workaround. The key is in these words here. Basically, Code Interpreter is a walled off Jupyter Notebook environment. It's basically a place to run code, but there is a plugin on the plugin store called Notable, which allows you to do the same thing, which is Jupyter Notebook environments in which you can run Python. And it's better in a couple of other ways. Not only will it give you access to the internet, it is removed from ChatGPT's interface. As you use Code Interpreter, you'll learn that when you go back into Code Interpreter and you've uploaded a file, like we did with the squirrel data from New York City, you'll get an error after a little bit of time. I think maybe 24 hours. When you go back into the chat, that the data you uploaded is no longer available. So it doesn't stay around forever. And not only that, you can download the entire Notable file as a Jupyter Notebook, which you can then use anywhere that you could use a Jupyter Notebook, such as Visual Studio Code. Also, ChatGPT Plus, GPT-4, has widely been noticed by many to be degrading in quality, particularly in its coding and all of its outputs. If it writes code for you that isn't that good, here in Code Interpreter, you can't change the code that it writes. But with the Notable plugin, you simply go into the cell where ChatGPT has written its code and simply change it, or take the code and give it to ChatGPT, ask it to correct it, and paste it back. There's a lot more flexibility with the Notable plugin. So the Code Interpreter plugin is a lot of fun, but I definitely find myself using the Notable plugin a lot more. And that's why I did a deep dive on the Notable plugin, which is available on screen right now.